Absolutely glad to see everybody here again. Welcome to another beautiful Bright Investor office hours. As always, we are here to go ahead and ask any questions about Bright Investor, market research, deal analysis, or have any support I can possibly have for you. I am also going to go ahead, as always, and start off with our announcements for any new things that are coming out to the platform or things that are coming out live. I can happy to announce that our new CRM integrations are I want to say about 3 weeks away, which is pretty exciting. We have a couple other functions, couple other features that are cooking right now. We're currently tracking about 24 upgrades in the current pipeline, another 13 in the future pipeline. So we're pretty excited there. The plan is still to release that new integration and release our new widget here in the next month or so. And after that, I think that's most of what we're working on. They're two pretty big features, two pretty big projects that we're focused on. So that's going to be the majority of what you see talked about, in addition to some other nitty-gritty releases that you see come out. But no other major announcements besides that. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much everything that we got. So we'll go ahead and open up the floor. Actually, I got a couple more announcements. Actually, one more announcement. I'm happy to announce that one of my so those of you who are Bright Investor never know we have the Diamond program for the residential kind of small commercial real estate. Another student of mine just closed on a 36 unit building today, which with some partners in their first deal. So I met with them 6 times. And after the first 6 meetings, they have closed this $2 million 36 unit building, which was they didn't tell me about until they were closing it. They're like, "Oh, okay, great. We have all these things together. We're doing all these things," and they're asking me all these pointed questions of what's going on here. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to close this building." I'm like, okay, well that's one way to do it. So that was a cool little win to have today. Seeing people go do projects like that. And I know we got multiple people here, either closing or just closing or about to close or getting things sold. So that's always a joy for me to be able to see. So without that, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up for questions, comments, concerns, and other announcements from folks to go ahead and see how much value I can bring you over the next hour or so.
Did you have a great Easter?
I did. I did. Got to spend some time with some friends, and right now I'm getting everything situated for my property that's closing next Tuesday, which is fun. So everything's in a flurry right now, getting ready to close on that property. But it's been good.
Glad to hear it went excellent. That's not an exaggeration. Hey, did we figure out that highway issue? Address
Yeah,
wise?
so I sent that over to the team, and they've been working on it. I'll have to get an update for you on the highway issue, but we sent that over to them to tackle as a high priority bug. So I will check on that today for you.
And then for those of you that didn't know what we're talking about the highway issue, any address that had highway in it, was causing wreaking a little bit of havoc. It wasn't pulling up the correct property, I guess, right?
Yeah, because it would get the number. So it was like 1170 Highway B in Virginia. Sometimes it would pull up 1170 Highway B in like California. So there's like that back part of the address was getting dropped for some specific more rural addresses. So I'll check on that for you today. Thank you for reminding me.
Hey, I just came back
And
from San Diego. I was at Bro. Have you ever heard of Bro?
I have not. How's that?
Is by referral only, so a realtor kind of thing. Since I'm a broker as well, it was really
Oh,
well,
nice.
and how to gen up more business, that kind of stuff, how to deal with these, that, and the other. Is actually pretty good stuff. Pretty good
That's
mindset.
awesome. Great to hear that. Good things overall.
And it was, what we got to give credit to. I believe it was Chester that was the one that was saying that the commonality was the highway issue. And
It
I was like,
was.
we tried another one. So, hey, thanks. So I see Chester's here. Because I was like, hey, this one didn't do that. And I'm like, wait a minute. He caught the commonality. So he was the one that kind of like pinpointed the problem. Thanks, Chester.
No, it was a group effort, man. It was definitely a group effort. So, everything that we could do to make Bright Investor better, man.
Absolutely. It's been great. I love it. I love it because you guys are just very much like, hey, how can we make this a little bit tighter, a little bit cleaner, a little bit better, a little bit more effective, a little bit more XYZ. So keep bringing me stuff like that. But the team just keeps rocking through it. We got a lot of big plans this year. You can see I'm trying to be a toothpick guy right now. So we'll see if that lasts me tonight. Yeah, any
Wondered
more
about
things
that.
you guys have?
I was gonna let it go. I was just wondering about that though.
I'm trying it. I'm trying the aesthetic. We'll see how it goes. Um, But yeah, so any other bugs, any other like glitches and things you guys see like that, make sure you email me. Reminder, my email is donato@brightinvestor.com. If you don't already have it, you can get in touch with me directly there. If I don't see an email, if I don't respond right away, just shoot me another email. Inbox is pretty crazy sometimes. And of course, as new releases do get brought out, we'll continue to make announcements for things. For those who don't always recognize this part of Bright Investor, I'm going to just do a quick share my screen and give a little tips and tricks. So, when you guys are in BI, some of you know that we have the Help Center here on the bottom left-hand corner. And in the Help Center, every time we do new upgrades, we release new long-form videos about how to use something. So when you guys click Welcome to in this Help Center, when you click Welcome to Bright Investor, it will allow you to start watching different videos on how to do certain things. And then the custom demo videos break down Bright Investor into the different type of segments for people who might be using us. And then we also have tutorial videos for every type of data type that we have. So if you have any questions, we have these videos right here. But whenever we have a major update, so if we are releasing a new version, if we have a new feature, if there's this bug that we fixed or things of that nature, we will put them in this update section for you. This update section is where we can just push out announcements to just let you guys know what's going on and make you aware of things. So if you log into Bright Investor and you see there's a little like notification down here, check the update section because that's where we put new stuff. And then you guys, most of you already know about the chat functionality to talk directly to us. But that is, I just want to point out that update section because we do a lot of releases there for the functionality. I want to make sure you guys are aware of those things as well. Now, actually, since we're here, I know Chester's going to like this. I wanted to ask your guys' opinion on the deal search filters. So I want to know what other filters you guys want to have when you're searching for properties versus just searching for deals. And I also want to have this question. So I have two questions to ask. So first off, which of these filters would you like to see added to Bright Investor to be able to add more narrow searches? One I'm already tracking is the ability to filter by square footage. But I wanted to know if there's anything else you guys want to be able to search by that you can't currently.
I think I might have mentioned it before, and I don't know if I can see it. I'm going to try to make the screen bigger. You have tax liens and such, but I don't see it here, but I think I mentioned it to you before, and you might already have it on your list of to come. And that was code violations.
That's right. Code violations. Thank you.
Because I had mentioned, I think before.
I think you have. Yep. I think it's on the list. It's already on the list back there. I'm gonna make sure it is again.
But it's not. I don't see it here, but I thought we had discussed. So I thought may be on your to do list.
Yep. Therefore, code violations. Okay.
So what motivations can we think of? Anybody?
What about eviction rules?
Eviction. Okay. So. Okay. Eviction. So that will be a interesting one to be able to look at. And when we say eviction rules, Rich, we want to know basically how long, right? Between serving someone an eviction, what's the time of notice I have to give? Okay. Okay.
And I think you also had a link where we could put it in there to Section 8 payments.
Yep. Section 8's coming. Section 8 is that's an official thing that's coming out. We are doing that. the Section 8 rent. So that is coming out for sure.
Could it
Which
be
I'm
also
pretty pumped
by
for.
population, like or like heat maps where people are starting to concentrate? As you already have the data of the different areas, so you can tell, oh, there's more people moving into this part of the city.
Concentration heat maps. Okay. Okay. Let me think about that. Maps for population. Right. Okay.
So I actually use list source. You're doing it through a
Yep.
different. So there's seller motivations and such, but I use some of this maybe possibly to get stuff as a wholesaler. So as a wholesaler, I want to see what are the hottest zip codes and stuff, which I do back through list source. What are the 5 hottest zip codes in like we say this area, and you're going to say, here's where most of these wholesalers are working.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a backdoor way to do that, but I just use list source.
So
there's videos on how to get list source and to get the data, and you don't even pay for anything. It's just saying, here's how many deals were done, and it shows how many of them are being basically bought for cash.
Oh, okay. So cash transactions. Okay. That's actually doable. So see like which areas are seeing the most cash buyers, essentially.
Yeah. And so I would use it to say, okay, here's where these cash buyers are buying. So I want to look in that area and find deals that are in that area. Because
That's a good idea.
Calls recently, and I have other software that I'm going to use, but to use it nationally, it's going to cost me another $8,000, and they want, I got like 5 zip codes or something, but then they'll give me the zip codes nationally if I pay like $8,000. So I can get them anywhere. But then I go through list source and I say, okay, I've had somebody call me and said, hey, I need 15 to 20 houses a month. If I just find those deals, and even if I suck and only sell them for $5,000 a pop, that's $100,000.
Yep.
And I've had 2 people like that in Sacramento that are calling me all the time. Hey man, you got something? You got something? You got something? So I'm going to create that list. But right now I'm hobbled because I can only do that. And I'm doing the zip codes right now in California, but I want to do a deal and then take the money from that deal and pay for the $8,000 so that I can actually do those zip codes nationally. Because then I can be doing them in Sacramento, I can be doing them in Fresno and like the Central Valley, and then if I have two clients that are taking 15 to 20 a month, and I do all the send out all the letters and stuff to those people, shit, it pays for itself.
Okay, then that kind of feeds into my other question on this. Right now, BrightInvestor is designed in a way to where you can find properties. Like here are the properties that meet all this criteria, and here are the sellers who meet this criteria. This is a spitball here based off some feedback I've gotten. Would it be valuable if instead of searching for properties, you could search for owners? And you could simply say, instead of doing this search and saying, show me a list of properties that meet my criteria, instead, you can simply say, show me every owner that's an individual absentee out-of-state owner with 5 properties in their portfolio, etc. that bought in all these things. And then when you click a button, it gives you a whole list of here's the 35 owners or buyers or people that meet your criteria. So then you could export that instead. I want to ask the group here if that'd be valuable.
But don't you already have that where you click on something and then it tells you how many properties they own?
We do.
Link properties, yeah.
But you got to take a few steps to get there. One question I was going to ask about that, Donato. So you see like how you've got Columbus highlighted here. Would something like that be so like let's say you drill down and you've got it to where you're let's say this is I don't know 2, 3, 5 mile radius here. Would something like that apply to the radius where the pin is highlighted, or is it just saying like broadly like anybody I don't know, like either given a zip code or like meaning like would it be more diffuse or would it be more focused depending on like the target market?
I'm thinking we do it more focused. You'd say, I want to see all of the owners that own property. So like, right, because Rich, you're completely right. We can do that. But when the result is show me the properties in this area that meet this criteria with this kind of owner. The flip to that would be I do this search, and then instead of showing me a list of properties, it says, here are all the property owners that own in this area that meet your criteria. So that it spits out that list of people instead of the list of properties.
I'll be honest, I like that approach because that way it will give you at least a starting point to be able to say, hey, this owner has 10, 15 different properties, let's say, high equity, absentee, whatever the case may be. And that way you can, in terms of like, let's say building out a marketing campaign, now you can go to each individual owner versus having, okay, well, 123 Main Street has these owners, and then 124 Main Street has another owner, and so on and so forth. So I actually like that approach.
Okay. That's good to know.
And what I was asking is more or less trying to find where all these properties are being sold.
Yeah, you're a different one, which is
creating a buyer's list too.
Right.
Yeah. So you'd want to see, okay, which zip code is seeing the most cash transactions? Okay, great. This zip code.
So I want to
Okay,
find
great.
properties in there at the same time. I want to find people who are buying.
Right.
It. I can give them
So
find properties for them.
right. So you want to be able to find both. So that way the eye can show you here's the hot areas, then here's the market research behind why it's a hot area. Then here are the properties that are in that area, and here are the kind of people who are buying in that area.
I think that's useful. This is what I was thinking with heat maps of areas where people were moving.
Okay. That's kind of like a
properties for me. I can also find properties that I may not be interested in, but now I know somebody else is interested in it, and I can get a wholesale, and then that fund that'll now fund my purchases.
Right. Okay. And that makes sense because it's kind of like you can do all things. Like in BrightInvestor, like you can do you can do all these things. Like, do you have a property, you need a buyer? Boom, here it is. Are you trying to find, do you have a buyer, we need a property? Boom, there it is. Do you need to figure out where other people are buying? Okay, great. You need to figure out why it's a good area or what's going on there? Yes. Okay, great. And you can kind of do that 4 different ways. Okay, so that makes sense to me. Functionality wise, bringing it out. I think here.
The only other thing is, like you say, you don't want to be all things to all people. The other thing is if you link this to where we can actually send the letters.
That's right. Thank you. The being able to do the direct mail directly from BrightInvestor.
You can pick the pieces or whatever, and you may even have some samples of what to send them or in the series or something. And a lot of these people that do the mailings, that you can just reach out to them, have this service that they offer you through us through you, and go click, and we now export that CSV, and now they're going to send out those letters. Let's say it's a chain of 7 letters over such amount of time, and of course they're time sensitive depending on the pre-foreclosure. And so on that closure list, the timetable would be different because they're going to ignore the first 3 or 4, but then by the 5th or 6th one, they're going to think they've been seeing them for months. And then the one that goes up the most when they're ready, they've now associated you with, I've seen this before, I'm comfortable with this, and then they pick you.
Right. That's a good, So let me walk this through. So I'm aware of several direct mailing companies: Ballpoint, Open Letter, Yellow Letter. There are several that I'm aware of in this space. So the way that I would build that, as a reminder for folks, when you're in the list and report section of BrightInvestor, and we save all of your property lead lists, and then we save all of your property and rent reports in here. So what I'm thinking here, because next month when you come to the property section, if you guys can see my little mouse here, I'm going to zoom in. Right here where my mouse is will be a little orange button with a little mail icon, or a little arrow icon or something. It's going to say, we hover over, it's going to say add to CRM. And when you click that button, it'll send that list to whatever CRM you have connected. So that way you can start marketing to it. If I were to do the mailing thing, I would create another button here that had like
Okay.
a mail icon that says start mail. And you click that and it says great. And then it would lead you through the system of great, how many mailers do you want to send? What kind of template? What kind of XYZ? Like that kind of thing. And you could start sending mail directly from BI on some level of hey, I have this list. Now, of course, if I do that, you need to find a way to be able to track that, right? Of like how many letters have been sent to which people. At that point, I think it makes sense to then send it to a CRM. Like you can say, great, send mail. And then when you're all done, it says, would you like to send these leads to your CRM? And you can say, yeah. That's how I'm imagining it. If you have a different idea, please let me know.
Yeah, when you send those letters or whatever, you normally want to put a code on it. So when the person calls you, you know which campaign it came from, or
Right.
like QR code or something, or a number for them to call. And so when they call a number or something, you know that it came from that campaign. Otherwise,
Right.
You have to have, I'm sorry to interrupt, you have to have a authorization or a license to do that. So those mail houses that use these type of campaigns, they're the only ones that have the capability of doing that. That's why you have to like really be careful on what you're sending out, and how many you can send out, because you have to have a certain license in order to be sending out so many at a time. Obviously you can send those personal messages out, but if you're going to tie it to a campaign, there's something in real estate licensing that you have, they're very careful about that. The only reason why I know that because I was working with a team in North Carolina, and they were explaining to me on like how detailed these mail houses have to be in order to carefully categorize all those mailers.
Yep.
So picking the right mail house would do all that for you. I don't know if BrightInvestor is the tool, or they want to go down that route of type of licensing and certification in order to do that. But again, it's worth the conversation. You know what I mean?
Panda,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that
we would
just for
definitely
real
third
estate
party.
agents?
Say that again.
Is that only if you have a real estate license?
If you're soliciting real estate, I guess
Deals?
purchasing, buying, or anything dealing to real estate, there's very specific mailing issues that it has to come through. If you're sending a certain amount over, there has to be tied to a mail house that could do all that. And again, I'm not the owner of that, or I'm not that's not my expertise, but it would just be something to consider if that's the direction that you want to go, and you're better off suited partnering up with a mail house
Right.
who has all those licenses, who has all that in order, so they can, send those mass
Yeah.
mailers out. Does that make sense?
We would, yeah. And we would definitely partner with we do a partnership with a third party company for sure. We would not do that in house.
right.
But what that would look like is we would partner with one of the, and I've used direct mail before, right? I've leveraged it. So we would partner with the company, but we basically integrate it into BrightInvestor to say, hey, look, you have this lead you want to mail directly? Perfect, great. Click this button and it'll go. So we wouldn't take on that, that whole process. We'd leverage a third party. So if you got, this is a good example to say, if you have a mailing company that you know, like, and trust that you think you'd like to see partner with us, you can shoot me an email and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. If you haven't also had a bad experience with a mail company, you're like, Donato, please don't use them. I really don't think they're the best choice here. Let me know. And again, I'll say it, said in the previous meetings, I'll say it in here. If you have a CRM that you want BrightInvestor to connect to directly, please email me. Let me know. If you, we have a whole list we're working through already, but we're going to go through and do certain things. So if you have a CRM, you already want to, you already know BrightInvestor to connect to. Let's go ahead and shoot me an email. But I've got some pretty good stuff here. I've got like all this is really good information on what it is that we're most looking for here. Okay, this is good. This is good stuff.
I mean, there's a bunch out there, like Postcard Mania, I think is one of them.
Yep.
Stant, STANNP or something like that. There's another one.
Yep.
I think there's one that's called Boom or Boomerang or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of really popped off in the last about 5 years or so.
Yellow Letters, everyone knows that.
Yellow Letters is kind of old faithful.
You know,
Ball. Yeah.
they're saying crumple up the letter, put it in there. Some of them say, you know, if you mail them yourself and you put like a cent on it, or some of them saying put like a penny in there. Some of them are saying put like a piece of candy in there. There's all kinds of different little things, you know, over the
Gimmicks.
years.
Yeah.
Gimmicks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Boom. I think it's Boom or something like that. Whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Boom. Yeah.
We'll have to check that out then. I'll have to check that out and see which one makes the most sense for where we're going. Because normally we can get some kind of bulk discount for people by doing that, which would be nice to be able to offer.
So if you're gonna try to do that with mail, that's great and stuff. I do have something that might be of interest, and you and I can talk offline about it or whatever.
Okay.
But there's a way to maybe put a number on there, and you can have now AI answer those calls.
Yeah.
And warm them up before they're ready to move on and stuff, and have the AI answer all of it. Otherwise, you're going to be having people calling you and you know what I'm saying? It's a whole waste.
Yeah, I'm very yep.
To pull the trigger. I have
Absolutely.
I have some software that for, you know, very little money that you can do that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cool services like that have come out recently to kind of work leads for people, which has been interesting.
So I actually have that where I bought the commercial rights to do something like that. So
that's cool. Yeah, shoot me an email.
Not trying to sell anybody anything, but I mean, I'd make very little on it, but it'd be super way cheaper than anything else you can find out there.
Yeah, shoot me an email and we can talk about it.
Yeah,
it'd be great. All right, here. So I've got highway, the filters you guys are looking for, the eviction rules, Section 8. Concentration maps for population, hot zip codes, finding owners in an area, direct mail, a couple other pieces. One thing that I do want to work on that I'm planning to make. So right now in the upload list section, if you click upload list, you can upload a Excel file of properties and it'll display them on the map, which is useful, and you can like filter them. But it doesn't if you upload a list of addresses. What it won't do is it won't fill in all the property data based off what we have in our database. So what I want to do is update this to make it to where you could just type in like 50 addresses if you wanted to, driving for dollars or something, and upload it to BrightInvestor, and then we would use our database to fill out all the property information for you. So I want to do that.
Oh, that was one I mentioned last time too.
Yeah, it's called
driving for dollars and stuff, where it GPS can, you know, on the app or something, it can give you the information on that and tell you if there's any other deals that are near there. If you like find a neighborhood, you say, here's this boarded up house. Is there anything else around there? And give us some of the statistics for that neighborhood. Is that something we want to pursue?
Yeah. We know the reports are both going mobile friendly right now. And we've emailed a couple people about this. We are in the planning phases of the mobile friendly version of BrightInvestor as a stuff system, but I cannot stress enough how important it is that get feedback from you guys on exactly what you need to be able to do on your mobile devices. So whether it's now or later at some point, but like putting some thought on what do you want BrightInvestor to be able to do when you pull your phone out of your pocket, whether you're in an airport, whether you're on the street, whether you're on the car, what's the most important thing that you want it to be able to do? That is very valuable information for us to make sure we build the mobile version that is actually useful to the team. So I would highly, highly encourage folks to take some time and think about that. Orlando, you guys on for me?
Yeah, I used Deal Machine before I learned about you guys. I like your platform better, but what I liked about Deal Machine when I did it is that I could literally be at the property, take a picture of the address, and then from there send a mailing campaign. Not to do anything. It's already done. I know which campaign I wanted to drop in, and boom, it would send out a postcard next day or next 2 business days. And I didn't put the investment into it, but because I've been working really well with BrightInvestor, if that's something that like I could do, literally from the drop of my phone, pull up an address through Google Maps or whatever, and it could pin the address, the parcel number, everything I needed to know just from a touch of a button, that would be That'd be a game changer for me, at least. I would love to see something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But again,
I
I
think-
know there's some royalties and I don't know, rights and I don't know, whatever they got locked up on their software. But if you can be as close to it without infringing on theirs, I would like something
Absolutely.
like.
You'll look up 7 million. So that's
I think
kind of where.
for
Oh,
me, for
yeah.
the app, sorry if I am interrupted
Oh
you.
yeah, go ahead. Go
I
for it.
thought
Go
you
for
were-
it.
It would be the property details where you can see the sale comps, the rent comps, and the analyze the property.
Analyzers.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I'm having a conversation with someone and they tell me the address,
Mhm.
I want to be able to say, actually, I am interested or not.
Okay,
So,
and that's yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Gary had the biggest deal when people try to purchase a property, when the hardest hurdle they get over is valuation. And so I watched this thing with Jerry Norton, and he used where it took Zillow's estimate,
Yeah.
realtor estimate, and I forget what the last one was. Realtor, Zillow.
Hey, Tom,
What's that?
ATTOM.
No, it was a
Adam
third.
data.
But anyways, it took those three, and it took that and it blended them and says, okay, here's the now price, and then they did the this percentage off of this, that, and the other, and then they said there's 4 different ways of repairs. Does it need heavy, light, this, that, and the other, and you can adjust those dollar amounts or percentages based on where you live, on what the work
Yep.
going to be. I'll send you that video and you can see what I'm talking about. And then basically it comes up with the offer price right away. That's the biggest hurdle for people who are trying to wholesale or do anything, is to be able to give these people an offer right away. When you're speaking to the people that are, when you're looking to wholesale or do something with these properties, just having them walk around and ask them, when was the last time the kitchen was done? When's the last time the bathrooms are done? How old is the roof? How old are the mechanicals? And that kind of stuff. So you have a quick idea of what needs to be done. And at the same time, they can just walk around with on the iPhones and whatever, and do that.
Yeah.
Walk around and show you the home, and that way now you have a kind of idea. So the biggest thing is helping maybe come up with a valuation of what something might be worth, and then you do inspections and stuff. Because I think that's the biggest hurdle for people trying to buy properties is what do I offer?
Right. Okay. And that's all you guys are saying something very similar, which is the property data. Like, can I look when I'm on the go? Can I look up a property? Can I see what it's worth? Can I analyze the opportunity right there? Can I input repairs, and can I start marketing to it on the go?
Yeah.
And so that's
deal, no deal. Yeah. You just want to see if it's a deal kind of thing.
And that's really useful to know, because that's where we've been leaning. Because our thought process is it's going to be so hard to do the market research and the mapping stuff on a phone because of the processing power. And ultimately, if you're out on a property, you've already looked at the area on your computer using BrightInvestor. So
That's
our
exactly what I
opinion,
was going to get at. I was going to get at, like, in terms of being able to prioritize, almost kind of like an 80-20 in terms of like, these are going to be like the, top 5 most useful things on mobile, where it may not need, but a fraction of the processing power, like you were mentioning. Again, not necessarily saying exactly deal machine type, but, very, very similar, where it's just really drilled down, focus right there on, these, handful of properties as you're out and about. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, definitely prioritize one set of criteria or requirements for mobile over the desktop version.
Yeah, that's what I think we're gonna do. So this is good. So like if you basically on your phone, you can log into BrightInvestor, you can type in an address, pull up the property, and we are redoing some of the calculators to include a much more detailed repair estimates for the wholesale and flip calculator, where you'll be able to go line by line for like kitchen, bath, flooring, roof, boiler. Like you'll be able to do that line by line. So you want people to have the option to do that kind of thing. So if you could on your phone type in a property's address, great, or pick it off a map, and then do your research, do your details, do your sales comps, run your numbers on the deal really quickly, and say, yes, I like it, and then say, great, I can create a report, I can click a button, start sending mail to it, I can send it to my CRM. That's the kind of mobile app that would be useful. Reports or
I mean, the biggest challenge with repairs is really labor costs in different areas of the country.
That's
yeah,
what I was thinking, that you could
Yeah.
use, at least in architecture, we use the RS means, and it just gives you an average. If it's 100, what we're basing it off, and you say, okay, Chicago, it is 120, and the average for repairs.
yeah,
And then we calculate it like this for different cities.
okay.
That's square
The
footage.
labor
Yes, it's for square footage.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of repair estimates we go off of are like 15, 25, 45, $60 a foot as far as like the kind of light to heavy that kind of Michael was talking about. So if we were to do that, then there's a locality component of the labor costs. That's a little bit different. So we're gonna have to see what we can do there. Try to get more
There,
specific.
yeah, for us, that includes labor. That's like the total.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
If you need it, but the thing is, if you just need, say, a panel done and outlets changed,
Yeah.
it's going to be different all over the place, even in the same area.
Yeah.
Electricians.
Yeah, because the same GFCI outlet pack of 12 is going to cost you relatively the same for any Home Depot, but one guy will charge you 25 an hour, 15 an hour, 100 an hour to actually pop those in.
Yeah,
And that's the hard part about calculators like that is we want to
yeah.
be able to give an accurate estimate, but I don't know what contractor you're going to use. And in any market, I can find a guy that's charging way too little. I can find a guy charging way too much.
There's a
For a lot of this
random
stuff.
question about that. I was just thinking about like it would probably require some sort of a connection of some sort. I don't even know how, but this is really just kind of like almost even far-fetched thinking. I was thinking about like apps like Thumbtack or Angie's List, something like that. If it's like
Yeah.
something where you're just like, you just want a if you want to say fair price, I guess, just something where it's like reasonable because there is going to be that level of competition. Um, so you're not going to be, getting, gouged or whatever. So something along those lines to be able to get some sort of competitiveness when you're dealing with pricing, and especially because they'll also have the what they call it, the ratings or reviews afterwards. They're not going to be trying to do shoddy work basically. So
Yeah.
if it's possible to somehow connect that, like, so
My
Yeah,
realtor
there's
has given me, like, when I have asked for comps for a renovation, okay, this would more or less what would cost you on the high end, and this is on the medium end, just per square footage.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Paulina, that's good if you're rehabbing maybe the whole property.
Right.
But if you're just doing a kitchen or a bathroom, that could change significantly. Like
Yeah.
where I am, I have an electrician that'll do a panel for 2,500 and another guy's doing it for 3,500, another guy's 4,300.
But I think if you're doing such a little task, you're gonna seek someone that can do the job. I don't think in general for those small jobs it's such a concern of how much it's gonna cost you, unless you're doing a big job,
Mm-hmm.
I th
Sure.
personally.
Actually, sometimes it might cost you more for the small job because they want X amount of money. They want a minimum amount of money. So just to show up for them to show up, hey, I have to make a minimum of this. That's where it makes the jobs expensive.
Yeah, I like this. I like these ideas here.
I have, I just have Google, for example, I need to clean up a furnace. So I just ask Google, how much is to clean a furnace in
Sure.
Chicago, Illinois? And it gives me an answer. So I can have an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Mm, okay. I like this. Say this is good. This is really good information here. I have a couple ideas of how we can implement this. But a lot of these things are not like if we can do it, like I know we can do it, and it's just gonna take time with our little bitty developer team. It's just gonna take time to roll these things out. But all of these things, I'd say about 90% of these things are yes, we can do and will. I can almost guarantee will do.
Yeah,
With the proper roadmap.
need to prioritize and a feasibility, like Chester was saying, for what would you want realistically. You're gonna get the most benefit of. You don't want all the functionality on the mobile, just the ones that make sense. So it's a feasibility. Yeah, cool.
And the thing for us is when it comes to mobile version is you're basically restarting the app. You're basically starting from scratch again. So for us, it makes the most sense to build mobile when the desktop version is like as polished as possible. Like, okay, great. Well, the desktop is working great. We have all the major features we want. The functionality is awesome. It's like as primed and prepped as possible. And then we can say, great, now we're just taking this core functionality at 20% and making that mobile. That's where it makes the most sense to do those things. So we'll probably add more to the desktop before we go mobile.
Well,
Probably.
can you connect the mobile to maybe a cloud version where you're not burning all your stuff on your phone? Then you'll have more functionality.
Yeah. Yeah. We could
Again, I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's
yeah, we
I
could
mean, you can
integrate.
connect your phone to your computer. That already exists if
Yeah.
you want to be doing it remotely.
Yep. That's true. Could do that.
I mean, this is
Hmm.
web right now. So yeah.
How many people here use iPhones versus Androids?
iPhone.
iPhone.
iPhone? iPhone?
Android.
I knew
There you go.
Android. I knew there had
Android, baby. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I got a
puppy.
split. I got a split house. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an iPhone dude, man. I tried Android.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
All
it's
good,
like
man.
once you get stuck in one ecosystem, it's like it's hard to
Change.
like
To
switch
swap.
over.
No, but
It's hard to swap.
I did, and I was telling them what the problem was. Like the phone, I would turn the phone on, the ringer, and it would turn back off. The phone would turn the ringer off. And I'm telling them what they're doing. It's not gonna do that. So and I'm telling the people this is what it's doing. They're going, no, it's not. You just don't know how to use it. So I take it to the freaking place to fix it. And I says, okay, I turned the ringer on. It's on, right? He goes, yes. Call the son of a bitch. And he can see, I'm sorry, call the dang thing. and the guy would call it and it wouldn't ring. I'm like, I just turned it on. I said, now go look at it. It's turned off. Now, what I've been telling y'all is the truth, right? He goes, I've never seen that. So they're like, oh, we can't do that. It did it.
Yeah, one thing I've learned is don't when if a customer says something's going wrong, the only answer is to say, okay, great, how can I help? That's the only answer. And that's the thing, because like when people tell me when people say, hey, even with Beyond, it's like, hey, no, I'm having this problem with it. I'm like, okay, I know nobody else is having this problem, but this person is. So how can we solve it for you right now for this person? And ultimately, there's this really good kind of a tech entrepreneur who has this talk he gave. He talks about that the customer is always right, but not in the way that we typically are trained to think about it, in the sense that, oh, whatever they want goes. But the customer's behavior is kind of always right. So when the customer walks in, like, and they use Google and search engines as an example here, if a woman comes in and then searches on her, like he uses mom as an example, if she's searching for a specific grocery store that has a very specific kind of ingredient she wants to use to make a specific, recipe, she types in like Columbus rice store where to buy. It's the algorithms and the search engine's responsibility to know what that person meant, even if they misspell it, even if they don't use the right language, even if their grammar is incorrect. the customer and how they want to use the product is right. And it's the product's job to meet them where they are. And so when you say, oh, well, if you'd only done this or only done this or only done this, it would have worked. It's like, no, it needs to work when people don't do that. And so we at BI have really, really focused on bridging that gap to where you don't have to use it perfectly to get everything right. And we're keep trying to make improvements to where we can kind of anticipate proactively what you're wanting to do. So it's even more kind of user friendly in that kind of way.
That's called GUI, right? Like, GUI, user interface.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah, exactly.
whole that just do that. That
Yeah.
say, how can people ask this question or whatever, or what are the different ways? And so it's supposed to be that user interface that actually, no matter what, like this, we wouldn't say that, but somebody else might. Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It is something where it's weird because
Or user, what do you
because
want to call it? Yeah.
yeah, you have we're you're building we're building something for each person here individually. And each person here has such a different background that how people think and how they how they interpret and how they want to leverage something can change significantly. And so being able to bring those things together is important, which is why we're doing like the smart errors and smart searches and all those upgrades as well, so that the goal is you never hit a dead end. The brand investor can always say, oh, did you mean this? The biggest one, this is me venting for a second, is when people are like, no, this address didn't show up. And I'm like, are you sure you spelled it right? And they're like, yes, I know I spelled it right. And I look up and we check it. We're like, that address doesn't exist. They're like, oh, wait, it was 517, not 527. I'm like, it's frustrating for us because it's frustrating for you.
You're
We just
trying
say,
to
okay,
fix a
great.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we just say, okay, great. How can we make BrightInvestor say, hey, did you mean this address? Or like, you look like, how can we make it smart enough to know that you didn't mean this address that didn't exist? Right? That's like that's something that we try to figure out to where we want to make it so that you guys are never wrong. If you're using BrightInvestor, you're never wrong. It's just we always know what you're going for.
Hey, just to let you know, I was doing something in BrightInvestor and I thought it was wrong, but I was wrong.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty with me. Thank you.
Hey,
That makes my night.
hey, Donato,
It's
I invited a
yeah,
friend on tonight, Colin. He's on with us
yeah,
tonight. And could you run through one of your little demonstrations on finding a property and whatnot, so he can
yeah,
take a look
absolutely.
at
I
it?
can do that.
I appreciate
Colin's
that,
great.
Rich. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
For sure. Colin, great to have you, my man. Welcome to the group, to the Bright Investor. I don't know the right way, the den or the homies or something like that. But happy to have you. So,
Man, the tribe. Hey, Colin,
tribe.
how long have you been in Witset?
Well, as long as the camera on my laptop hasn't been working.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thought
I had to process that for a second. Yeah, it's I'm not at my office. I usually have the webcam plugged in, but
Gotcha.
Perfect.
What
So,
is what's
uh, let's
Wait.
say that we are in.
No camera.
Let's do Philly. So if we're looking for properties here, Colin, one of the first things we can do in BI is to find them is to come over here and click this search deals functionality. And what I can do is say, let's just have a little fun here. Let's do on market this time. Show me every single family on market property in this 10-mile radius that's owned by an individual landlord that's owned it for at least 5 years. And yeah, so show me some landlords who are selling properties. We got 500 landlords who are selling properties right now. Let's get more specific than that. Let's say the person also has to own at least 5 properties in their portfolio, and the property has to be also owned by an out-of-state owner. Now I've got 58. Okay, perfect. So these are all actively listed properties that I might want to go after because I know a landlord is selling them. They might be sick of sick of the game, they're retiring, what have you, who knows. So I might click this one and say, perfect. I want to learn more about this deal. So right off the bat, I can see that it's listed for 189, 5-bed, 4-bath. The seller is an absentee owner. It's out of state. They have a lot of equity in it. They've owned it for 15 years. Put a loan on it for 80 grand back in 09 and yep, here we go. It's owned by this woman out of Florida, Yesenia Rodriguez. And when I click on her portfolio, I can see that she owns several properties from Philadelphia. She owns 1, 2, 3 in
Right.
Philly and 2 in Orlando. So if I could buy one offer, I might be able to buy the other one's offer, especially because she's selling one. Now to get in touch with her, right? I click skip trace. There's her phone number and email address for free, right? You say, boom, hey Yesenia, saw you were selling this property, thought you might want to talk. And by the time you call her, you've already used the sales comp section of BrightInvestor to run all your sale comps here. And we're looking at it's worth about 180. But we might want to filter it down to be a little more specific for just other 5 for things like this. And then I'm going to look at this and say, what's this property going to rent for right now? And I'm looking at about 2,500. So I got my insurance estimate for the landlord insurance, which is going to be running me about $300 a month for a replacement policy. And I know this area's home prices are down 10% year over year, so I want to make sure I buy with enough buffer. And I also know there's a 25% jump in new listings. But as a market, the population's been kind of flat for a decade, and the income is really low here right now, but it is growing very quickly. So I might want to buy this, but I want to be conservative on my approach because we're seeing a little bit of price reductions and the income is a little bit lower. So I come to my deal analyzer and say, look, if I can rent this property for $245, I'm going to throw a property manager on there. I'm going to hold 5% back for repairs, 5% back for vacancy. And let's say I can get a loan today at 6.8%. Well, that's going to give me an 8% cash on cash return, cash flow 300. But I'm a little greedy. So I don't want $300 a month of cash flow. I want to get a little bit more than that. So I might offer her, say, oh, I don't know, why not 150? Especially because I can pull up the Zillow listing straight from BI, right? And I can see, hey, 66 days on Zillow, 66 days on Zillow, we checked today. And I know that from the market trend section, the average days on market is 53. This property is officially old. So I come over here and I say, great, I know your property's sticking on longer than it should be. I'm factoring in my management fee, repairs, vacancy, and CapEx. I'll do this deal for $500 a month in cash flow and a 20% cash on cash return net, which of course, if I zero out my repairs and my vacancy and my CapEx, it becomes $800 a month in cash flow and a 30% return. So then I take all this and say, perfect, I got her phone number. You need to go talk to my buddy who I do deals with or my lender. And I create my Bright report right here that has all the property details that I just pulled on it, including the fact that it's listed. I hid the owner's information, the loan info, because I don't need everybody to know my business like that. But I pull my sales comps of it being worth around 167. I rents right here and my deal analysis ready to go with the market research. So when I send this to my buddy, he can say, okay, great, I like your deal, but I think I can get you a quote for 6.2% instead. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and put that instead. And hey, I can manage it for 8% instead. Okay, awesome. And what happens if your insurance comes back at $4,000? You can run the numbers right from this website. I know it's going to cash flow me pretty well. I give her agent a call, which I can find right here, Eugene. I don't think I've ever met a person in real life named Eugene, but hey, that sounds great.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine, Eugene.
I knew of every person on this call. I had no doubt that Rich knew someone that was named Eugene. I don't know why, but in my soul, I knew that he was going to be the person that knew someone who named a guy Eugene.
Well, just for your benefit, my neighbor, her name is Eugenia.
See, that just shows how sheltered I am. I don't know enough people. So right
You
here,
shall receive, right, Donato?
We grew up calling him Huey, but now he goes
you
by
shall
Gene.
receive, right?
Absolutely. So, Colin, what I can do here is I can find properties, I can find out who owns them, get their contact info, run the comps, run the rents, get my insurance, check out the area, and then run my numbers on 7 different strategies and get a nice little put together report so I can use to work with people, get opinions, whether I'm a realtor and I'm working with the client, whether I'm a property manager, whether I'm an investor, lender, we can use that all right here. All before we go to our market research side. We say, hey, look, I might want to buy this. How are the schools nearby? Is it going to be attractive to people? Schools are not that great.
Since you're just showing us that, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Me being a wholesaler, if I could wholesaler report so that I can de-identify or after I get it under contract, if I can like put together something that I can have that I can make it like a mailer, a PDF or something, like an offer.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be a cool deal. I mean, it's something probably simple that you can do with a template that draws in all the info.
Yeah. So I can do the schoolwork. I can say, okay, great, but I also want to know the crime. And we have it in about 800 cities, not everywhere, but about 800 cities, the major ones. And I can take a look at this and say, great, do I want to buy a property in this neck of the woods? And we pull up this address by address crime data and we take a look see here and we see bum, 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 bum.
Prices are going up and the cost of living is going up. The chances of living are going down.
Yeah. So all these orange pins are violent assaults. These are all this month, actually. So I can pretty clearly see that as I go west towards the park, my crime goes down. As I go north into the south and east, it's a little bit higher up. So if I'm going to buy here, this street's not too bad. I mean, we only had one DUI this month and one aggravated assault. But I'd probably want to be closer to Alton Park if I was going to be here. And then I come over to this area and I say, great, if I got a 5-bedroom property, right, how are the rents trending in this direction? And I can see that 5-bedroom rents are up 6% in the last 3 years. So not great, but they're going up. And I come over here to my to my rent to own section, get an idea of what demographically is going on. I can see that we used to be 62% renter occupied. Now we're only 26% renter occupied. You had a complete reversal of who's living here. So a lot of owner occupants in this area nowadays.
So
So
that's kind of weird. What was the median income?
median income in this area, I believe, is right around 30K, if I'm not
And they're buying.
mistaken.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're buying. So if I check out, we're gonna check. We can see we fix the income issue. Yeah, so it went up from 33 to now we're going up to now 45K. We're trending up and going higher and higher. So we're definitely seeing increases in income here. So you got lower income people moving in for the lower home prices. We're buying. If I'm gonna buy here, it's got to be close to this Alden Park region. So that's kind of what we do, Colin. I hope Rich didn't steer you wrong having you come in tonight.
That was the Evelyn Wood, us older guys, Evelyn Wood diversion.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's beautiful. And honestly, it makes me feel like, working with multiple spreadsheets and the laborious strategy that I have going on right now kind of makes that all null and void when you have it all in one spot here. So that was a beautiful run through of the software, because I'm just getting in. I'm just starting to kind of play around. But that was super helpful to see full cycle from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Then
also part of Cole's group.
Then I drop my little guy out here and I'm taking a look at the property, big old tree. Like, yeah, looks cool. Looks like it needs some work here on the roof.
That's
Take a look at the street that it's on.
See that? Did you see the top? That's
Yeah, isn't that weird?
reversed. It's reversed.
Yeah.
The brick on the top versus the bottom. I mean, on the there. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's a
I've
neat
never-
little house.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh,
That's
building
backward.
front of the house.
I see that. I would see the paint and everything on the top and the brickwork on the bottom. I've never seen it the other way around ever.
So it's like so look, all these houses have like this like exterior stonework, but like only on the middle, and it's just
That's weird.
yeah. So I take
and it's got
it is.
got a mansard roof. So
They're really old houses.
last time you seen a mansard
Yeah.
roof,
Yeah. So
I'm saying
I pull up my
that's the East Ohio mansard or whatever. You see that crap. I mean stuff.
the mansard.
What's the appreciation in this area?
Yeah, so this area, we can check it out. We'll click appreciation for this
That's the weird
Okay.
building.
Let's take a look, see here what's going on.
Is that a school?
Yeah, there was a school right next to that property that looked like it. So this area's up. It's up 93%. It's pretty great. We're trending up, which is fantastic. Went from about $100,000 to about 250, 240 in that range right about now. So not too bad. We're rocking and rolling here. Which is probably why we're seeing, it's relatively affordable, under 240 for a house. Probably why we're seeing so many people own or occupy. But might not, but yeah, if I was gonna buy here, I would be doing a search deal, and instead I would do draw boundary, and I would say I only want to see deals right about here. Say I want to see here, and that's pretty much it. And then I would do my search there instead.
That was actually one of my
Crime.
questions was if there was a polygon tool. So, bam, there it is.
There it is.
And can you set that for it to alert you if anything pops up in that area?
Buy boxes we don't have yet. That's that is a functionality that's on our we're aware of.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
And
That is
alert,
definitely going to be
Here's
huge.
what I'm looking to buy. If something pops up, let me know. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
everything's for sale at the right price. So we're going to ask people if they want to sell. But if something pops in the market, or if they're doing things that looks like they're going to be selling, different things that looks like, like for instance, they start renting U-Hauls or something, or they're getting those little boxes over, what do you call it? Those move boxes. And if you see that, then they're moving. And that's before they list the house and stuff. They start doing these actions.
Interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It is something which has been there are a lot of indexes I would love
before
to.
They list the house, before they have a realtor, and they don't have realtor fees. I'm not trying to cut out those greedy bastards. I am one.
We've looked at different indices that we could potentially go after. What I really want to do is figure out, is there a way to help those really niche data sets to go after? But we'll do some more digging. See if we can find out. Well, guys, I've got an index card full of your notes. You can see that. All your notes are right here. I appreciate you guys giving me some feedback on some things here. As always, any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Shoot me an email. My promise to you is that everything you let me know, we're going to take a look at sincerely. And if we can make it happen, we'll put it on the roadmap. Some things just take us time, being small, being able to roll these things out. But you have my guarantee, we're going to keep making sure we get these things taken care of for you. So we're going to keep rocking and rolling. That is our office hours for tonight. I'll see you guys all next time on office hours. And everyone who's closing or about to close and doing things, best of luck. Look forward to talk soon, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you Saturday.
And
Thank you very much.
Donato.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Donato, I
night,
did get your email, Donato. I just haven't had a chance to respond. It's been crazy at work, but I will get around to it though.
Sounds good. All right, guys.
Everybody knows that
Everybody.
If anybody needs any lending issues, come here.
Absolutely. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.